Hello, Claire. Welcome to MEPSology at MEPS. How are you today?
Yes, Nirvana, it's been a while since we've had a catch up. I've really been looking forward to our Christmas catch up today. So I'm feeling in a very good place. Thank you. And yourself?
Yeah, beautiful. On this beautiful summer solstice by me, winter solstice by you, my favorite day of the year, and also yet awareness that it's going to start getting cooler for me. So it also is like, an oxymoron for me because I love the heat and it's so hot here today.
Oh, how lovely. I can certainly resonate with the heat because I love it too. But I also find there's something, for me personally, something beautifully magical about looking out the window and seeing a frost or seeing all the leaves kind of sort of, poking them from the trees covered in white. And it's yeah, I love that crisp cold air at night when I walk around the woods, and yeah, it's all magical. So I'm enjoying that part of it myself at the moment.
If it wasn't for my garden that I know, loves the rain and loves a little bit of cooler thing, I could just have this 365 days a year. I love being hot. I mean, I was born in the desert, right? So
Yeah, you're a desert rose.
I'm a desert rose. And what I find interesting before we get into the topic is, that we are sitting at these opposites. You're in the winter, I'm in the summer, you're north and I'm south, and you enjoy the cold, but you don't mind the heat. But there's these there's this duality threat between us, right? Good
Yeah,
duality.
yeah, absolutely. And I think I wanted to ask you this question because I know that our topic is about shining your inner and outer light, and it kind of resonated for Christmas with Christmas for me in the North Star, talking about North and South, the North Star, and what that represented, and why we sort of celebrate Christmas in the way that we do.
Mm.
But I wanted to ask you, Nirvana, what you felt your North Star was. What kind of is your star and your direction?
Yes, well, that could be seen in so many ways. That the question that you're asking. So I'm going to go just quickly announce our topic, which is finding your internal star, the Christmas catch up with Clare and Nirvana, and we are going to share our thoughts and feelings and wisdoms for Christmas 2021, and then into the new year of 2022. Well, as you I think know that you guys in the northern hemisphere, and correct me if I'm wrong, have got a northern star right in the sky. We have what is called the Southern Cross, which is absolutely my favorite star constellation in the sky. I have a little necklace also with the Southern Cross in it, and it's a very particular way of finding it, which shows you exactly where south and north is. So as you got the Northern Star, we've got the Southern Cross. And so that again shows, that there's a different sky that we look upon. But what is my star is, I think, is your question, right? What is my
Yeah.
guiding star? So first of all, my guiding star would be the Southern Cross. So I will refer to the Southern Cross, and you can refer to your Northern Star, but it really doesn't matter. For me, it is for me it's that's an interesting question. Like, I just felt like I just keep on thinking about truth and freedom. For me, freedom and truth and being self-sustainable, being with my own clan, so to speak, not being part of a robotic system. I've never been able to fit in. I mean, we were talking about it on the weekend with my mum, and it's like I've always been a bit of a rebel as a child. I never really conformed to the sort of Afrikaans, music or anything like that. So I've always had a bit of a twist in my life. I kind of jumped out of the stork's nest that way, you know.
Yeah, absolutely resonate with that one.
And yours, what is yours, Claire? What is your guiding star?
Okay, so the clarifying the point between the two stars, interesting, because I don't know. I mean, I'm not very well informed about the star that Jesus would have looked at in Bethlehem. Presumably, it sounds more like the Southern Cross star. Anyway, I'm going to look this up because I'm inquisitive to know that this is an area that I don't know much about. However, in answer to your question, I always feel like I'm on a pilgrimage when I look at the North Star. And it's kind of something I felt right from childhood when I look at that star, and it's kind of like reminds me of when, you know, the ensemble followed the star towards the stable. And I think I've taken on that kind of feeling myself, where I want to follow this star and see where it leads me. And even if it's only something of an internal nature, because that star represents that spirituality for me. And I feel that I'm so connected to my spirituality. And that star has kind of led me towards my own spirituality in a much deeper and deeper way. Because the more I've looked at it, the more it's illuminated my path, and the more I've wanted to look at it, and the more I've wanted to follow it. So, yeah, and I've always been quite a sort of Christian, I suppose. I'm not a religious woman, but I feel that what the qualities of Christianity really resonate for me. So this time of the year, I do feel very much involved in those particular qualities in myself. So I guess that's really what that star represents for me.
Well, I mean, I also come from a Christian background, and I feel, and you know, I know that there is that ingrainedness about, you know, having to go to church every Sunday, and kind of having that whole idea about Jesus's birth and things like that. I wouldn't say for myself personally, I'm more connected to the Jesus philosophy, or the principles about the you know, like a Buddha's philosophy and a Jesus philosophy, and
Yeah.
you know, that type of thing. So unconditional love, forgiveness, you know, all of those types of things, no judging, you know, being able to wash the prostitute's feet. For me, those are the things that I would link to the word Jesus, but absolutely have gone away from the idea that somebody was born to wash my sins and all of that type of thing. You know, I've kind of left that behind as I evolved and realized that we all have that Jesus God, you know, energy within us to be able to walk that path of unconditional love, you know, and the gift of love.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. And I think that's the principles that that's the kind of my moral footprint then, that I like to follow in this world as much as I possibly can. And I think this is why we set up this group MEPS, because that's the qualities, that is our moral footprint, really, MEPS, because we're in order to help people look through that darkness, to look through their negative emotions, and to find that inner love, that inner peace, that joy, you know, and what Christianity stands for in its true essence, without man interfering with it and kind of putting on all their own rules and regulations, attaching all that to it. It is a very pure inner love, and that's the feeling I love to find. I mean, obviously it ebbs and flows in me, as I presumably think it would everybody else, but fundamentally, that is my aim for my inner journey, to continue and walk on that Holy Spirit space.
Exactly. And, you know, one of the things that you brought up as well is, you know, the fear of which it's not just Christianity, but I think any religion, you know, the fear, the control, the manipulation around that. So I think, you know, referring to MEPS, which is the 4 bodies, the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual, that if we can bring that all in alignment, then we can find that cross, you know, let's talk about that cross within ourselves of the 4 bodies. And one of the big things is judgment, not only of ourselves, but of others, the pointing of fingers. Oops, I just dropped a crystal behind me. You know, that's confirmation, right? I always find that something like that happens. There's a water feature right here with stacked with crystals, and a crystal just fell down.
That's absolute, yeah, confirmation.
A sign or something of confirmation. So yeah, bringing back to those 4 bodies and finding the balance into that cross, you know, where we can get to the center of being and unconditionally accept, love, bring in, you know, all people, all circumstances. And you know what? I just have to say how hard that is for me currently. I'm going to have to do this now. How hard that is for me currently, just seeing what's happening with the split of the
light and dark split.
The light and dark split. Yes, exactly. The split of my body has got its own immune system, and I have the right and to you know, to know that whatever creation, part of that creation that I am, has got everything that I need in my body. It's a different thing if I break a bone, you know, I might need somebody to go and, you know, set it for me. But the body will heal itself. So this is where I find it challenging to stay within those 4 bodies, to stay balanced, to stay without judgment, to stay without opinion, is when I see the split, as you say, between light and dark.
Yeah, I'm feeling that myself. You know, and those are the questions that I believe we spoke about in our women's circle earlier on today. About the questions that we raised about, you know, what we felt were our personal questions, and I know that this topic was raised about, you know, the questions of humanity and where we are as a global being, then as a whole, and we all have a right to choice. Every human being has a right to choice from the time we are birthed into this planet, this beautiful Mother Gaia of ours, with this innate immune system and this wonderful sovereign being that we are, that nature created, the cosmos created, you know, from stardust. So nothing man-made is ever really going to be able to replace what's already innately working in us. And so therefore, you know, to have a choice of whether we want to be receiving these shots of some artificial ingredients, and others, well, all sorts of ingredients, that's our choice. You know, personally, I don't want to make that choice. I don't want to take that. I am happy with the way my immunity works. I know what I have to do to keep myself healthy. And I don't need to be adding anything that's synthetic to that.
Yeah, you know, and this whole thing that about the manipulation of taking our sovereignty away, and of sort of taking control over our soul, not that really anything can, but with this synthetic material to really close off the pineal gland and all of that. But you know, this has been such a slow snail thing that's been going on for eons.
Yeah.
And as they introduced the internet, which was both a blessing and a, you know, with tracking and tracing and all of that. I mean, you know, how far can we go back, really? The religion, part of that whole thing, to control. We'll take this from you, but you have to give this to us. You have to come, you know, all of those kind of controls to take away really our own connection to earth, our own connection to this beautiful creative energy that's all around us and within us. And for me, the biggest thing is fear. Fear is where people get hooked in to a story. I was listening to something the other day and said, how do you get people to do something that they don't really want to do, that doesn't really make sense to them? You sell them a story. And the story, I mean, you can look at any of the Hollywood and all of that, how they sell a story, how they sell you know, anything on adverts, all of those things is to sell a lifestyle, a story. If you remember the cigarette adverts, like on the yacht with a bikini, and you know, this is after action satisfaction, they're selling a lifestyle and a story, and really hook into a side of you where you don't want to miss out. Well, not me and not you for certain, but yeah, it's
I mean, I think with the story, there has to be certain elements involved in order to really hook people in. And one of those elements is fear. And the minute you've got somebody in a fear base, you can sell them anything, because then they become beholden to what you've got to offer them next. And so then you offer them a hero, because the hero is then coming to resolve their fear. And so this is where people who are fear-based follow government, which they consider their heroes, to resolve their own fear. You know, within that story, there's going to be divide, disconnect. You know, there's going to be, I think the next rule coming in the UK is, do we now need to have household isolations? This is all about putting people and making them feel alone, isolated, in fear, and then reliant on the hero to come and save them. And I mean, that's in any Disney story. You know, if you look at all of the Cinderella, the Rapunzel, it's all based on the same factors. And then in the end, you know, it's all resolved because the heroes come and they filled everything with love, and it's all perfectly fine.
And everybody lives happily ever after. You know, and it's not just the government that's the hero, it's the medical, the whole lot, the whole pharmaceutical that becomes the hero outside of your
the government are the government are the mouthpiece. That's the point. And the government media, the spokesperson for all of that other stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
And they use the media for that. And you know, you were talking about the hero, there's always the villain and then there's the hero, right? And in this fairy tale, and then the person on the white horse, as you say, and then, you know, everybody lives happily ever after. But
unfortunately, Nirvana, you know, that we're living on the inverse. We've turned the villains into the heroes and the heroes into the villains, and this is where it's all got so confusing and in such a muddle. And of course, when you live, the word live spells evil. When you live on the inverse, you get evil. And this is exactly what's happening on this planet at the moment with this pandemic and all the plans that have been in place for a long time, as a last result for the dark, the inauthentic, inorganic ones to take over the planet.
You know, and Claire, to kind of come to, we've kind of exposed to a lot of people that already think this way, you know, that knows what we're talking about. But there's a few people that will go, oh, you know, these conspiracy theorists and these people with, you know, anti this and anti that, selfish people and all of that. But I would like to kind of go more into giving something that is, what are you doing to question what is being put in front of you? How are your own critical thinking? Are you always looking outside of yourself for the savior, the tablet, or the person who's going to come and you know, save your area, your ward counselor, or whatever the case may be? How much of your life are you taking responsibility for? really being responsible for what's happening in your life?
Okay, so that's a really good question. And I'd like to put that out there as well to all our listeners. I mean, I'm going to answer it from my viewpoint. I have 100% internal locus of control, pretty much. Yeah. I always listen to within. So before I act on anything, I run it through my own sonar system, my own natural sonar system, and see how that resonates at a bodily level. And now on that level, that's going to be my spirit, my physicality, my emotional body, is all, and my mental body is going to be involved in that for a start. And so my guiding star, we're talking about stars, this is my guiding internal star, because I listen to this star and I see where it leads me. And I then think, okay, right, we need to question a little bit more about that before we can answer that question. We need to find out a little bit more information. We need to find out, you know, maybe before I allowed to put my arm up to have some jab in it, to know what's going on, what's going to be put into my arm, what is that in that jab that's going to be put into my arm. Do I want to close down my Christmas? Has anybody got a right to shut Christmas down? This is Christ's birthday. Has anybody got a right to say, oh, well, you know, no, we're not doing Christmas, no, scrub that? No, they haven't. Regarding the media, you know, the big media, which, by the way, is run, all media, every newspaper on the planet is run by two companies, BlackRock and Vanguard. So they all have the same intention, and that's to scare the shite out of all of us, basically. And they are doing that to 35% of the population, you know. And of course, that's a large percentage of everyone. So I'm taking all this in, I'm listening, I'm looking, I'm evaluating all the time in answer to your question. It's never a, oh yeah, I want to go on holiday, so I'm going to roll up my sleeve and I'm going to go, yeah, quick, hurry up, get it done. I need to go on holiday in 3 months' time.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, Claire, sorry, are you, I'm sorry, did I cut you off? Or you?
No, carry on.
So one of the things that popped up in my head is how, right? How? Because if I look at people that lived a certain life, and I look at the bloodlines as well, if you look at a bloodline of academia and people who's been sort of in the military, you come from a military kind of background, right? There's a certain thread that runs through. This is what we do. This is how we do it. You do this, you do that, you go vote, you blah, blah, blah. And that gets passed on. You must study at university. I'm not saying that it's not, but I'm just giving an idea that, and then you must go and find a job and you've got to blah, 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 you know. So there's a very specific, I'm not that type of person. I came into this planet already having my own ideas. So thank God for that. The problem is to start activating that critical question, that rebel is the word I'm looking for, rebelliousness in the bloodlines, if I can use that word, of people that's been on that treadmill for such a long time, for so many generations. How do we get through? And it's not like, you know, it's our job, but like, what is the tool? What is the thing that we could say, if you want to find out, or if you want to question something, where do they start? You know, like, how do you get them to kind of unhook from that train?
Well, first of all, I would tell them to lean into us. If somebody wants a starting point, I would say certainly lean into us, and we can certainly point them in the right direction. Personally, I've been a rebel all my life too, a total rebel. I was never, ever going to be listening to and being conditioned by any of my guidance, which came from my parents, due to the fact that I could already see through it at a very young age. However, my father was quite a political militant man. And so I guess I had some of that militancy from him already in my bloodline. and my grandmother and his family's bloodline. So I was blessed to think that, you know, I've had that sort of cellular structure going forward. I think there's 40% of the population that are swinging both ways, Nirvana, and those are the people that I'm asking to lean forward and lean into us, because we have a lot of information, you know, really real good information that's highly sourced. You know, we're not just talking about something that's kind of been beamed down to us from another planet. You know, we're not talking about conspiracy. We're talking about real science, real results, real figures. So, you know, I think there's always somebody that knows more than you. And I always lean into those people myself for guidance if I want to know something. And I suggest, you know, people do the same. Start somewhere. There's plenty of information out there, particularly on groups on Telegram.
Yeah,
there's plenty of information.
exactly. And you know, it's, as you say, there's always somebody that knows more than you or I. And also, like you are, you know, I would go and find my information and then filter it through my own, as you call it, radar system, filtering it through, how does it feel in my body? Does my body go yes for something? And that's a very personal kind of experience if you prepare to do the critical thinking. So we are not saying, you know, we have got all the answers, but we can guide and send certain links and start, you know, saying, let's open up that little rabbit hole for you and see and get a start on and review certain things, and then you can and you can feel it into your body. And if you resist to it, then leave it there, let it sit there, because if you are ready, you're really ready, another thing will come your way from somebody else, and it will trigger that little thing that you were resisting, and you're going, wait a minute, I've heard this before, and then I've heard this before. And slowly but surely, if you really want to open Pandora's box and open up that lid, the information is out there. And some people might really get shocked and get quite upset and, you know, even depressed about some of the stuff that has been happening to us through the people that we thought was there to protect us. And so, you know, through all of those mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual, the four bodies, we are here to guide, to support, to hold, answer questions from our experiences, right?
Absolutely. And I think we're thinking, Nirvana, aren't we, in the new year, of putting up a sort of a guiding star group for people that want to join and have a community where they feel they can get supported and held and listened to, not just on a personal level, but also on a planetary level as well, you know, talking into all of this. And one thing that I kind of heard that stood out for me, that what you were saying about the critical thinking aspect, but also about the emotional intelligence aspect of all of this too. And that is that if you are queuing up for a vaccination, really just lean into your emotional body, really feel, does that really feel right for you? Does that really feel it's something you should be doing? You know, because even that 2 seconds of just meditating, if you like, even if you're in a queue and you're standing there and you're waiting to have something done, just meditate and just think, does this feel right for me? Do I feel in the right place? Am I making the right decision? Is my critical thinking switched on? What's this going to do to my body? What's this going to do to society? You know, what is the bigger picture?
Exactly.
And I feel that we can all just take this time out sometimes, just this little bit of time, just to reevaluate where we are, where our guiding light is, and what it's trying to shine to us, to illuminate in us, for our guidance going forward.
And exactly. And for me, the biggest thing is our children. What is this doing to our children? Do you realize that the you know, the infertileness, that's the right word, that, you know, that's going to be created to, if you know what this is doing to your children, really know, did you really investigate to hand your child over, you know, those are the things. Those are the things you want to question yourself, because if you've given life to something like your beautiful child, do you really want to give it over to something that hasn't really had the full reveal of what is going on in those jabs,
And also, do you have the right to make an authoritarian decision for somebody else's body?
Yeah.
Do they not have the right to be an adult before they make that decision for themselves?
Yeah.
Whatever your belief, we don't really have a right over somebody else's body any more than we want to start separating the light and the dark in society, and the vax and the anti-vax. We don't, or not anti-vax, I don't like that, pro-vax.
Yeah.
So it's all a question of choice. We do not want to divide and separate people. We are all part of this planet. We need to live in this peace. This is what this festival that's coming up that we're going to be celebrating on Saturday is all about, is to live in peace. And we are here, Nirvana and I are here to hold that peace, to hold that space, for people that are looking for that in their life, and looking for answers that are going to help to take them towards that. Absolutely. Not away from it.
Absolutely. And as you say, we are not here to separate, to divide. Absolutely not. We are here to switch on a light, to show that star and saying, have you looked up and seeing where this is taking you? And the road that it's taking you, have you questioned, is that road really to your benefit? Really check in, where's this road taking you? And if the road is taking you down a path which doesn't agree with somebody else, then respect the other person following their star, their light, their choices to where they're going, instead of having this separation, divide, and again giving into their agenda of creating this division on our planet, which is not it's not who we are.
No, absolutely not. We all need to live in harmony with, we talk about different ethnic backgrounds, we talk about age, we talk about all these differences with people, disabilities, mental health. There's so many things that could divide us all, and we've been working hard to glue this together so that everybody feels equal. And this is another challenge for us all, regarding people's where their differences are going forward in what's going on the globe at the moment.
So you were mentioning about next year. Let's go on to 2022, and what is in store for MEPS. We're going to start our Guiding Star group.
Yeah.
And people can find us on MEPSology.
Yeah, MEPSology, at MEPS on YouTube, at MEPSology on Facebook. Please look out for the new group, the Guiding Star group. And we are going to be doing lives once a week in that group regularly, posting information, if anybody wants to ask us anything. And we're also going to be doing offshoots of that group for private sort of help and therapy and things like that. So please do lean into us if you feel you want a guiding star, a guiding light, if you feel alone and in the darkness, or whether you're not alone but you still you feel internally alone, you're like a hermit traveling forward, in the dark, then please lean into our Guiding Light group.
Exactly. And also, if you have, not only, we'd love to hear what is your guiding light stories, what are your critical thinking stories, what are the things that you have achieved in following your guiding star, and what advice can you give? This is a community that we can really help and support, and be there in a beautiful circle to others that's wanting to experience that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'd love to hear from you all. We really would. All stories welcome, you know, whether it's guiding lights or whether you've had a particular experience that you know is something that you felt you were guided into changing something, anything like that. We'd love to hear from you.
Exactly. And so we will put the link for the Guiding Star group on our MEPS page on Facebook at MEPSology. And then if those who wants to join can send us a request, and that it'd be lovely to interact and to be part of our community.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you all there.
Awesome. Oh, Claire, it's been, you know, I just realized we could probably talk another 2 hours.
Yeah.
This is it for 2021 from us, and we are looking forward to having our regular catch-ups next year, and also then a little workshop that we are planning on doing, a feminine divine workshop, right?
Yeah, looking forward to that, Nirvana, greatly. Yeah, and can I just wish everybody a fantastic Christmas. Do what you feel is in your heart and what is right for you this Christmas, and have a fantastic new year.
Yeah, and the same from me. I would like to wish everybody a beautiful festive season over the holiday period. You know, spend time with your family, hug each other, and you know, don't exactly huge hugs. It's the best medicine anybody can give you, and just share in the gift of being present for each other. And a fantastic 2022, and we look forward to seeing you in the next year.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Claire. Love you lots.
Bye.